Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for The Blacklist Season 9, Episode 18, titled, and hopefully this is correct, Laszlo Jankowicz.
Yeah, sounds right.
All right. Well, we've got a lot to discuss here in the wake of all of the Mr. Kaplan questions that are just sort of like floating around throughout the internet right now.
Yep.
Could Mr. Kaplan be coming up here? We'll talk a little bit about that, what Reddington has going on here. We'll get into some stuff when it comes to Mr. Kaplan's sister, because there's a lot of conversation about that online right now.
But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have videos here at the channel twice a week. Every Tuesday, we're going to be doing a preview. Every Friday after the episode, we have a review up here for you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and then you don't miss anything.
All right. Also, follow us on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV. We've got pictures over there of Harley, of some roses in the backyard.
Yeah, the neighbor's rose bush is like coming into the backyard.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it at all. I'm getting free, beautiful roses in my backyard. I don't have to take care of them. They just blooming and making my life well.
I was going to say it's a win-win for everybody, but I'm guessing it's not a win for the neighbors because we got your roses now.
Okay, they also have some of their roses.
I suppose. Okay, Mr. Kaplan. All right, so on this past episode in our review, the question was raised, could Mr. Kaplan still be alive? And my answer, and I'm staying true to this, no. I do not believe Mr. Kaplan is alive. If this show resurrects her, I will be very surprised, and you guys can all clown me in the comments, and I will take it all.
I don't think she's alive, but at the same time, this is the Blacklist, and, surprises come out about this all the time on the show. We've had Reddington, who was, like, dying of some illness, and now it's, like, 2 years later, and they never spoke of it again. It was just, he miraculously is fine, and here we go. You really never know. I mean, we have Samar coming back, and how is she coming back? Could it be in a dream or whatever? Maybe, whatever. But I didn't expect that either.
No.
Who knows?
If Mr. Kaplan is alive, Reddington, we gotta have a talk here, because you didn't check her body after you shot her, like leading into everything at the end of season 4. If you did not check her body the second time in a season, you do not need to be the concierge of crime anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he really should have checked.
Well, the situation that exists now, here's what we know for sure insofar as facts go. Mr. Kaplan had some involvement building this second safe that apparently was involved in this huge elaborate heist to get all of this information that was meant for Liz as to how to run the criminal empire. Like, that much has been established.
Yeah, what hasn't been established is, was it actually Mr. Kaplan? Like, we have information from this safe maker who we don't know from anybody, who actually made a second safe and didn't even check with Reddington. He was just like, oh yeah, they said that they were your associate, they had your bank accounts, I figured, and didn't actually pick up the phone, was like, this person is here, like, did you order this or no? It's kind of strange how many people just don't do that on this show, but that's fine. But we have his word for it, and we don't know how trustworthy he is. That, someone came in, called themselves Mr. Kaplan, had, we saw the shoes, but we didn't really see them. We sort of saw a silhouette. I mean, that could have been anybody. He could be lying. It's just, we don't know.
Like, we don't know anything about this safe person. We don't even know whether or not Mr. Kaplan told anything to anyone about this. Like, even if she did go and see this safe person before she died, like, she may have taken that information with her to the grave for whatever reason. And that's what makes Reddington's crisis here all the more strange, in that he has to find somebody who may not be connected to really Mr. Kaplan at all, who may have just sort of picked up something that Mr. Kaplan left off many, many years ago. And to try to find those connections, that ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like if it was actually Mr. Kaplan that saw this safe maker, why didn't they just show her? Like, it feels really weird that they did all this sort of like soft silhouettes, just shoes. I'm like, I'm a little bit suspicious about this, if it's actually Mr. Kaplan or not, because what's the motivation for her to make another safe to take these discs, because the idea is, that she was not wanting the criminal empire to continue. So if that's the case, why would she steal them to keep them? She doesn't want Liz to run the empire. She doesn't want the empire to continue on. She just take those discs and burn them in a fire.
There's a lot of things that don't really make sense. And I think that's what we need a good bit of clarity on. And, the synopsis for this episode says that Reddington is questioning the whereabouts of a former associate. And I think it's important to note that these synopses come out a couple of weeks before these episodes air. So obviously they didn't want to give away anything about Mr. Kaplan. I'm assuming that Mr. Kaplan is the former associate. Maybe Reddington is doing kind of what you suggested earlier. Maybe he's in this world, nobody really is dead. So maybe he's starting to wonder if she's actually dead, and he's starting to wander around and look.
Yeah, he's been faked out by Liz. Remember the whole I'm pretending to be dead? Kaplan helped with that. So could she have done it for herself? I'm sure Reddington has got the gears going, being yes, she can do that for herself. She may still be out there. Maybe I should have done my due diligence and I didn't. And, so I'm sure he's probably trying to find out, is she really dead? Where would her body be? Is she not dead? What is going on here?
Here is where we get to Maureen Rowan. And for those of you who are who's that? This is Mr. Kaplan's sister. This is a character who was referenced back, many years ago, back in season 4 when a lot of this stuff was going on. And at that point, we learned that she's someone who is in witness protection, and Reddington did what he could in order to get a list that had her name on it, not because he wanted to find her supposedly, but because he wanted to ensure that nobody else found her and that she was still somehow safe. Safe pun intended there. But anyway, what does she potentially have to do with all of this now? It's mostly just trying to think about people who would know something about Mr. Kaplan. It kind of makes sense that maybe they're going to find a way to incorporate this character somehow into the mix.
It's possible. There's nothing that's actually confirmed that this character is coming back, that she's going to be back in this episode. I mean, this has just been a lot of speculation online through the fandom that maybe she would come back. And it's a really good educated guess.
Yeah, it just fundamentally makes a lot of sense that this would be a way that it happens. I mean, the question that I just have is okay, yeah, it would be cool to see Mr. Kaplan's sister to have this part of the story brought in, but it's also if she was in witness protection that whole time, how much information is she really gonna know? She's off starting presumably a new life somewhere.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, right? Did she still have any contact with her sister? I mean, if you're in witness protection, you're supposed to have no contact with anybody. You are new person. Yeah. You don't have any ties to anyone who might have known you ever, or what's the point?
I don't think that the end game here, even if Mr. Kaplan's sister is showing up, I don't think that she's the person responsible for what happened to Liz. I just think it's all very, very weird and obscure that you're gonna pull that's sort of the Reddington Sea Duke theory that people have out there. It's just such a deep cut that it's are mainstream fans even gonna really even remember or understand that?
No, I agree. I don't think that she's the big mastermind behind it all, but she might have even just one little thread that starts, that he can start to unpull and get to, the end.
Let's all be realistic here for a minute, even if I don't want to be. They're not giving us an answer as to who this is in episode 18. They're probably not giving us one, and they're probably not giving us one that's full-fledged and solid until either the finale or somewhere really, really close to the finale.
We also have another season, and, they love to drag things out on this show. So it could still be going on after this, especially if Kaplan is still alive. We may end up seeing something like that in the big finale. That'll then bring us into, Kaplan versus Reddington season 10.
What if they do all of this in this episode and Mr. Kaplan is still alive and they don't even actually show her? They just make us wait until the finale and then they actually show us there, and then it's I think I'll be coming on this video Friday being like, I'm right, she was dead, ha 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 ha, and then they bring her back later and clown me.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about it is they may have been not showing Kaplan in this past thing with the whole safe maker because they didn't want to give something away, but I mean, it was in the past, so they still wouldn't really be giving anything away except at the end of the episode where it's like, oh my God, Mr. Kaplan did this. But we were already at the end of the episode. Just show her. The fact that they didn't show her tells me that there's something suspicious going on and that it may not actually be her.
I am really, really curious now. And like all of this is the stuff we're clearly the most excited about. Like the Blacklister story, they're hunting down a criminal dealing in drugs. It's like, okay, whatever. Maybe that'll be interesting. Maybe it won't be.
Maybe.
I just want more Mr. Kaplan information. So hopefully Friday we get something. We all get to come back on here. Maybe our jaws will be on the ground. Maybe we'll just be like, you guys did all of this and for what?
No, the past 3 episodes have been complete total fire. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm feeling good. Everything is moving ahead really well. We're getting really good mysteries, really good stories. I'm so excited for the next episode. Come on, give me number 4 in a row.
Come on, you know, even the title, Laszlo Jankowicz. There was another Jankowicz, I believe his name was Marco, who was like a title for a show a few years ago. It's like, is there a connection there? Is there not a connection there?
Maybe.
Anyway, hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss that. Follow us on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV, and we will see you here next time.